They did not put me down like a dog. This just came out of nowhere so fast. The guy disappears for a year, making a deal with the devil. He was walking one night at midnight, and he got to a Mississippi crossroad where he met a pale man who was tall and his eyes shined. That he met the devil at a crossroads in Mississippi, joining the infamous 27 Club. I've heard of this even before with other artists, and it kind of became a thing where people were saying that he made a deal with the devil.
Y'all gotta do it if y'all wanna get it. We were born ready, yeah, and y'all gotta get it. Y'all gotta move it if y'all gonna get it. We were born ready, yeah, and y'all gotta get it. Goddamn, back to back to back to back with it. Y'all don't want it, buddy. Y'all just be capping and the moving steady batting, but y'all can't hit it. Y'all was born rats and we was born. Y'all don't step on them, so y'all don't know.
Let's go. It's Mean Green on episode 13. It's 13?
I think so.
All right, we don't know. That's how much we care about this podcast. Welcome back to Respectfully Disrespectful. I'm your host, Coco Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Say that 6 times straight. Man, this week, how you doing, Igor?
I'm doing great. A lot of work has been done.
Always. A lot of good work has been done.
A lot of good work.
Dude, this week has been, I feel like too much has happened. So, I got my wisdom tooth pulled.
That's always good.
Terrible experience. Don't do it. But you know what I'll tell you? Sometimes when I think about, how far everything dental has come, like, I'd be really curious to look at the history of, like, dentistry. Like, how were people getting their wisdom teeth pulled in, like, 1700s? Like, what does that look like?
Probably some pliers and, like, a
Dude,
dirty
but that's
knife.
horrible.
It definitely is.
Like,
no
you know
anesthetic,
how
nothing.
now you can get a root canal. Back then, you just had to get your neighbor to hit you in the mouth. You know what I mean? Like, honestly, I'm sometimes so thankful that we live in this timeline where, medicine is not what it used to be. I remember watching a podcast that Joe Rogan did with this historian lady, and she was talking about, the history of medicine and everything like that. And it was insane. You used to break your leg and they would just amputate it. Can you imagine
Good old
that?
days.
Can you imagine that? Like, you break your thumb, they're like, well, the whole hand gotta go. And you're like, what? So, yeah, I got my wisdom tooth pulled. Did it without going to bed. They did not put me down like a dog. They did it the good old method, just, which was horrible. Honestly, I thought it might have been better to just give me a shot so I could go to bed and get it over with. But we are a week in officially today because we're recording on Monday. And, it kind of sucks. Oh, well, might as well say this. I weighed myself today, so
Let's go.
but I weighed myself at like 4 o'clock, so with like water and all this stuff like that, it's at 179. So I know barely any progress from 180, but I will cut it some slack, and I will say I think I'm riding high on like 177 probably, because I did drink a lot of water today, and I weighed myself in the middle of the day. So cut me some slack. Next week is gonna be the real showing, because big week ahead of ourselves. Big week. If I don't drop like 5 by the next time, get me out of here. What else happened? It was my birthday on Friday. June
Happy
27th.
birthday.
Yes, thank you. I gotta say, I realized every year how awkward I am about my birthday. I don't know what to say when people wish me happy birthdays, and I've been like this since I was so young. I feel like I've hated my birthday. I know it's like a cliche thing now. Everybody says they hate birthdays and their birthday and stuff like that. I have like hated my birthday just because I didn't like the amount of attention that comes to you on your birthday. And I'm curious how many people actually relate to that. I don't like, you know what it is? I prefer living thinking that people care about me and remember me, and then when my birthday comes, I really pay attention to the people who don't wish me a happy birthday, even though I know some people forget. The people who forget, I don't mind, because I'm bad with birthdays. I forget all the time. Better late than never. But the people who don't, I'm like, oof. And I wish I wouldn't care, but bro, I'm human. You know what I mean? I care a little bit. And then I had like a little birthday celebration, and I realized I can't, along with not being able to look people in the eye when they're talking to me. When people are like congratulating me or wishing me a happy birthday in person, I want to just like I just don't want to be there. I want it to be over quickly. I get really awkward. I get sweaty. Yeah, I just don't. I don't know. I'm curious how many people actually relate to that. Do you get like that with your birthday?
I don't like my birthday. Usually around the time of my birthday, my mood just falls.
Yeah, what is that about? Why?
I don't know. I just don't
I'm
like
the
my
s-
birthday. I don't
I-
like getting congratulated. I don't like all the calls and stuff. The whole day is just nonstop spamming calls.
But isn't that weird? Because that's like a good thing, right? People are like caring about you. They're calling you.
I guess, but I don't know. I don't like attention. I'm a pretty introverted person.
Mm-hmm.
I never like I'm not used to getting that much attention, and that one day throughout the whole year, it's just overload.
Yeah, I might be the same way. No, it's hard to tell because I'm in front of a camera, but it took a long time for me to do this in front of a camera. Um, yeah, I don't know. I think just birthdays. I remember when I was younger, like 13, 14, when your birthday's supposed to be like super fun, your friends and family having a pizza party. I just wanted to like get in a closet and just wait the whole day out because I just did not like, presents and stuff didn't matter to me as much. I don't know what it is, honestly.
I don't care about the present. Like honestly, you can give me I don't know, a beer or something. I'll be happier than you trying to pick something out special. Like the thought is what matters.
Yeah, no, for sure. But yeah, I don't know. So the birthday happened. My mom and my wife, she planned this, but my mom and my wife and Igor actually, we went to see alpacas.
Hell yeah.
Dude, I gotta tell you, I think llamas/alpacas are just the most gangster animals out there. I am them and penguins are my favorite animals. Something about an emo pony that's like huge and just people paying money to see them and then get spit on. There's just nothing more gangster than that.
I mean, probably the most straightforward animal out there. They don't like you, they spit in your face.
Yeah, like
What human will ever do that?
Exactly. You have to, you have to be the alpaca, be the llama. We got to pet them, got to walk around with them. They're so cute. They're so fluffy. I mean, and we paid like $25, which is nothing. We spent like maybe up to 2 hours. It was like an hour and a half.
Yeah, it was a really nice how do you call it?
An event.
An event.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I definitely would want to go back there sometime just because the staff were like really great.
Maybe give them a shout out too.
Well, I don't I don't want them to get swatted or something. Dude, if this gets on like some Reddit thing after I get famous, someone's gonna swat that place.
Nah, come on, you can't do that to the alpacas.
Hold on, I'll tell you where it is. I do want to shout them out. We went to the Hidden Brook Ranch. It's in New Jersey. It's really good. It's really great. The staff are just awesome. The llamas and alpacas are cute. Very friendly. Honestly, nobody got spit on, which was sort of a letdown, but at the same time, I didn't want to go home with like llama spit on me. So, that's a win right there.
I'm pretty sure I did see an alpaca spit.
At the very end. But it was
Right?
because they were like getting brought back in, and one of them got pissed, and he was just like,
Yeah.
Dude, if you look up like compilations of alpacas and llamas with people, it's just so hilarious. People bring babies next to them, and then the baby gets spit on. Dude, it's just great, dude.
Well, the guy said something that some baby got trampled like a couple weeks ago.
Well, he said one of the alpacas like started jumping on it.
Oh, is that what it was?
It was the one that was misbehaving. And that they put back, he was like, "Yeah."
Oh,
he
it was
just,
that exact
yeah.
one?
He was like,
bruh.
"It gets too friendly and it starts getting all over people."
You know what I like about that whole dynamic is how they have a very nice like community relationship. You got all the civilians, which is the alpacas, and then you got the police enforcers, the llamas.
Honestly learned so much.
Yeah.
It was such a dream. I've been thinking of seeing llamas and alpacas for such a long time, but I only recently realized that they're not far away. Like a trip to New Jersey on a good day is not far at all. I used to think you have to go to who knows where to see one of them, but
Different country.
yeah, but it was great. So highly recommend. If anybody's thinking of a trip, definitely go see some wildlife. It was really nice. Oh, on that trip, which was really funny, they give you some food to feed the alpacas, and and they want you to get rid of all of it before a llama shows up because they start wanting to get food and they get rowdy. So the guy gave us food, and he gave my mom food as well. My mom just hid the food in her pocket. The guy was shocked when he realized that she was just hoarding llama food. He was like, I've never seen anybody do that. Can you imagine that? The guy is running an alpaca farm where they have visitors every weekend for the past, like, he said they started doing it since like 2022 or 2020.
I think he said like 6 years they've
Yeah.
had the farm.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. For 6 years, not a single person had the idea to hide alpaca food. And here comes my mom. My mom just went. And the guy was like, what? You have more food? He was like, oh. He's like, you're hoarding food? It was very embarrassing. But, dude, that's how you know my mom's from the USSR, bro. You had to hide food back then. you, God forbid somebody caught you with a loaf of bread in your pocket. You're getting slapped. So, dude, that was such a funny thing. Another learning that I had over the weekend was I'm not ready for a baby. One of my friends has a baby, and I don't know what it is. I'm curious if all girls are like this, because I've seen this so many times. If your girlfriend or wife have a friend who has a baby, they like want you to hold it so bad. They want to see what you're like when you're holding a baby, and then they start taking pictures and videos. They think it's the cutest thing ever. So I'm holding this baby, right? And the thing is, babies are like very expensive. Like it's an expensive vase. That's what a baby is. They have that little thing on their head where there's no bone, right? There's no like.
Yeah. It's very soft. It's like a soft spot.
Gross. And then they can't hold their neck for like a while. You have to like hold their neck. Dude, too much. There's no manual that comes with it. You have to just like ask ChatGPT or somebody who had a baby and didn't mess it up. You know what I mean?
So probably your parents.
I don't know about that. So I was holding this baby and I was like, okay, cool. It started like jumping around. I was like, cool. And then I give it to my friend just in time. The little shit ended up throwing up on her. That's another thing that's super gangster about babies, dude. When people throw up, they kind of need a minute to just collect themselves. They just went through a traumatic thing. Usually it happens after people drink or eat something bad. They go to the bathroom, they vomit, they feel nasty. They want to get water. They don't want anybody to look at them. A baby, it'll throw up and it's like, let's go. I'm ready. Let's go. I want more. A baby will be ready for battle. It will throw up twice. Dude, babies are gangster. I would much prefer, of course, for them to like come out ready and like go get a job and like, or at least, not die if you forget them in the car or something. But
there's gonna be a lot of beeping in this segment.
yeah. But babies are gangster. Like I saw it like throw up, and I'm like, oh, and then it just started jumping again. I'm like, damn. It was very, it was kind of cute, but I'm also like, ooh, dodge the bullet. And I realized I'm gonna have to hold babies in the future, and then, gotta deal with baby puke. But that's fine.
The best.
Also went to a little like get together yesterday, and so I didn't know like anybody there. There was a few people I knew, a lot of them I didn't know. And this lady sees me next to my wife and she goes, "Oh, he's like fatter now." And I'm like, oh, my vision's getting blurry because I'm crying. And this is the other thing I don't understand. Like, why do people think, like, you could tell someone they look skinnier, right? Because it's like, nobody gets upset at that. Well, somebody who does. But normally people don't really get upset if you tell them, oh, you look skinny, you got thinner since last time I saw you, right? Unless you're dying, which, there's reasons. But when is it okay to tell someone, oh, like, you got fatter since last I saw you? Why? Like, why? What are you doing? And I'm looking at this lady and I'm just like, she looks at me in the eye. She's like, He looks fatter now, and I look at her and I'm just like, when did you see me last? A year ago? A year ago? Did you know that the winter passed? Did you know that we store fat in the winter? Or at least some animals do? But all right.
It's not the winter anymore, though.
It's not the winter, but that's what I'm saying is like we're getting back into it. Listen, whatever.
People usually get back into it before summer starts.
For the summer bod.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's like once you're in a committed relationship, it's like what's the point? You know, like who cares?
Real.
You know? I recently also like went back to some old music I was listening to in like I don't know 2010 11 and I was listening to 3 Days Grace, the 1X album. I'm just gonna say this right now, the 1X album is one of the best rock albums ever. I'm just going to say this right now. There is not a single bad song on that album. You could shuffle it. You could play it in any order you want. I know all of those songs and not a single one of them is bad. Not a single one. And I know that's crazy, right? Because when we think of like, you know, rock bands, you usually don't throw 3 Days Grace in there, right? Your Metallicas, Led Zeppelins, all that stuff. But okay, you could be a little generous and say from like the new age rock bands and stuff. 1X, one of the best albums. Not a single bad thing on it. Just gonna leave it there. And I remember I used to, you know, like any other 12-year-old, I would go on my Facebook when I'm listening to, you know, Animal I've Become, or any other song on the album, and I would just post like very depressing things. You know what I mean? The guy singing about like divorce and alcoholism, and here I am like 13 years old like, she doesn't know what she's missing. She'll be back. Nobody loves me. And then I look back at it now and I'm like, I meant that shit. I meant that shit. That's how I felt, dude. I love depressing like those posts you would make when you were like 14 and 13. Dude, I'm telling you, when I go back to them, because Facebook likes to expose me from time to time, when I go back to that and it's like, you posted this and it's like, and it's a 13-year-old me in like 7th grade and I'm like, motherfuckers can't get me. Like, who? Like, what's the problem? I would post stuff like, dude, I would post like Mobb Deep lyrics. It was ridiculous. It was like I was a 13-year-old white kid in a privileged household, and I was just angry at somebody.
I don't know. I was never like into posting like that. I never posted pictures, videos, or like just thoughts in general.
Really?
I never like saw the point of it. Now that I look back, it would be really funny to read some of that stuff, but it's like,
I think I wanted attention. That's what it is.
You look at my Instagram, I have like one picture on it.
Okay, yeah. Well, yeah, you're not like that.
You look at my Facebook, I have a picture of a Lamborghini on it that I took myself at a car show. That's about it. I don't really post stuff like that.
Yeah, I
look at this podcast, you can't see my face.
Yeah, until we get a second camera.
That's not happening.
I was posting that stuff, I think, to get attention. But a lot of the times it was like people messaging me like, what happened? What happened? Oh my God, are you okay? And I was just like, no, nothing's okay. Meanwhile, I'm over here playing Call of Duty or something, dude.
Mr. Mysterious.
Dude, yeah, it was great. And 3 Days Grace was at the forefront of it, bro. I would listen to 3 Days Grace all the time and just post the most sad status updates when I was 12. It was like, what are you upset about? Nobody hurt you. You are watching LT Gray on, you know, Nicktoons. You're drinking vanilla like milk, eating cookies, playing Call of Duty. Who hurt you? And I'm over there like, she's gonna regret leaving me. Nobody understands me.
It's different when you can relate to the lyrics, but I wouldn't stoop so low as to post something about it.
Well, because you understand the lyrics when you're old enough to not want to post about it.
No. Like, even as a kid, like, you'll hear something, you'll hear a line, and you'll be like, I relate to this. This is how it ties into my life right now.
Dude.
I get that. I get that. I used to listen to the same kind of music. I used to love 3 Days Grace. I loved Metallica. I loved Disturbed. Disturbed was number one. Disturbed and Skillet. Or Skillet.
Skillet. I think it's Skillet.
Whatever. Doesn't
My
matter.
my sister used to, her password on like Gmails and stuff used to be Disturbed Constantine. And I was like, why?
Because you're disturbed.
I remember this so vividly. We used to my parents were driving to take me to Cirque du Soleil, and I'd have my head on the car window and I'd be listening to Riot by 3 Days Grace. It's just like, what are you so upset about? Dude, it was so good. It was so good. Honestly, best album. Just gonna bring it out there. Well, oh my god. Another thing I wanted to talk about real quick. The whole, what are they called? Labubus? Those dolls? Labu, that's what's called? Labubus? Dude, so for a long time I saw them overseas. I didn't see anybody over here have it, but now in Manhattan I'm seeing like girls wearing them on their book bags and like on their bags in general. And then I started like, my niece wanted one, and I don't understand like where this is coming from, because even adults are rocking God damn it, Labubus, dude. I'm thinking of Lala Loopsy, dude. Not the same thing. It says here, it's a character created in Hong Kong. Huh.
By Hong Kong artist.
Whatever. It's still created in Hong Kong in 2015. So this thing is 10 years old. How is this happening?
Well, you know how trends are. There are songs that
Yeah, but why?
literally had maybe, I don't know, a couple thousand listens before, and then out of nowhere
It blows
something
up.
like TikTok picked it up and it just blew up completely.
But it says here the series The Monsters. So why is it Labubu if it's part of like, why is it called The Monsters?
Well,
Elvish creatures? Dude, there's
Mhm.
nothing elvish about those things.
look, I've never watched this series called The Monsters, but maybe the species are called Labubus, or maybe it's a name of the character. Not sure.
All right. Well, Labubus are interesting because there's so many of them, and they come, from what I understand, is they come in like a little box, and you don't know which one you're getting.
Oh, it's like a
It's like a
CS:GO
Yeah.
case opening.
yeah, you're trying to get a karambit, and it's just a Labubu in like a dress, and you're like, huh? And then you got to go online and see how much it's worth. So I saw one that was worth like, dude, they have like Louis Vuitton collabs and stuff.
What?
Yeah, I saw a couple of
That's
them going
insane.
for 500, and I was like, Jesus Christ. Maybe this is it. Maybe this is the moment I realize I'm just too old for this. I don't understand the Labubu thing.
What are the chances this is just a knockoff of Chiburashka?
That's exactly what I was thinking, but
That's what it looks like.
it does look like it. It looks like a cuter version, like a new version of it.
Well, I don't know about cuter. Look at those teeth.
Hey, that's an elvish creature.
Elvish creature.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess they're like fine. I would maybe have one, but I'm just telling
Why? You're
well,
a grown ass man.
no, no, I would have one to like put back here somewhere. But I don't understand like the prices some of them go for. Like, do you know what the most expensive one is? I'm
Let's
telling
see.
you, I've seen a few Labubus go for like some like high end sneaker prices, 500, 700. I'm like, Jesus, this thing's like this big. Like, what's going on? You know, looking at it right now.
Human-sized mint green Labubu.
Okay, but that's 170,000 for a human-sized mint green Labubu. Okay, fine. Go to the shopping thing, because I feel like the most expensive one is just not going to be fair. Just type in like, yeah, buy a Labubu or something, and we're gonna look. Go to shopping on the. Let's see what they got.
$40.99 on
So
eBay.
the box is about $40. I've seen them for like 30. You know. Look at that, 65.
Yeah,
And-
that one is already open though. What's the fun? I feel like the fun is opening it and being like, "Oh, did I get scammed?"
Well, for us, yeah, but imagine you're a kid who wants a specific one and you just get scammed.
I guess, yeah.
Whatever.
I don't know. I just feel like this is
yeah, I don't
you're
know.
overpay. You know what this reminds me of?
Huh.
NFTs.
Yeah, but this is a physical thing. NFTs were just so ridiculous.
But you know how people are. They'll go crazy and overpay for collectible items. There are people that will collect anything. I'm telling you, anything.
No, I understand, but I guess my thing is this just came out of nowhere so fast. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's a trend. What are the chances that it won't be around in like 2 months?
Well, I mean, we'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see.
We'll make an update.
Next on the list, from an eventful week is Jake Paul just had another fight yesterday.
Yep.
Who did he fight? He fought Chavez Jr., right?
He fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr.
Yeah, I don't like the way you said that. I don't like the way you said that. Again, how old is he? Well, he's
39.
Like, he's 40. Okay, so here's the thing about the whole Jake Paul thing that I'm honestly just getting so tired of this. For the last, it all started as this YouTuber boxing thing, right? Pretty much everybody was around when this was going on, right? KSI had his fights, Logan had his fights, Jake had his fights, and then everybody thought it was just like a little phase. But Jake went the route of, I want to make this a professional thing. And you're like, okay, cool. He started fighting people, left and right, a little older. The first 2, 3, 4 fights, you kind of give it a whatever, right? Who did he fight? Who was the second person he fought?
Ever?
Well, I know he fought, what's his name?
So the first person he fought was Anderson Gibb, a YouTuber.
Yep.
Zero fighting experience.
Yeah.
Then he fought Nate Robinson, an NBA player.
Well, he also fought Joe Weller. That was way before this.
This is just talking about a professional career.
Okay. So Jake Paul has been, over the years, obviously the roster of people he fought varies. He fought a few YouTubers, Anderson Gibb, I know. He fought Joe Weller. I think that might have been his first fight. I don't really remember, but I did see it. We got Nate Robinson, who was an ex-NBA player.
Yep.
Yeah, Ben Askren, who I think at that point was a retired mixed martial artist.
Yeah, and 7 months before the fight, he had hip surgery.
Yeah, I mean, then you have Tyron Woodley, who he fought, I think, twice. Yeah.
Yep.
He knocked him out, I think, the second time. Whatever. There was like that knockout.
First time was split decision. Second time was knockout, round 6.
Anderson Silva, another ex-MMA fighter. Tommy Fury, who he lost, who was actually the only legit boxer on that list.
Well, no, there are legit boxers here, but that I think was the only boxer that wasn't retired.
Yeah. That's what I mean. Is like somebody who's actually on his level, maybe. Nate Diaz, obviously another ex, MMA fighter. So here's where I fall on this whole thing, right? Every time he announces a fight, everybody complains. Everybody says, you're going for old guys. You're fighting retired mixed martial artists. You're fighting retired boxers. He fought Mike Tyson, which was just a sad thing. I watched it, and it was so obvious that Jake just did not want to destroy this man, and he just made him go the distance. It was very obvious. And every time a fight is announced, everybody goes crazy. And then everybody watches it. So my question is this. Is Jake Paul a bad boxer, or are we just bad people? Because everybody watches it. These people look at the numbers, right? If nobody was watching his fights, these fights would not be happening. If Jake Paul says, I'm fighting, I don't know, Tom Cruise in 2 years, right? Or next year, if nobody watches that, he's never going to do something like that again. The problem is that everybody watches it. Now, in the beginning, everybody was watching it because Jake Paul is really good at being the villain. He's very good. Way from his YouTube days. Everybody hated him. He capitalized, rage bait, all that stuff. For a long time, everybody wanted to see who's going to beat him, who's going to knock him out, because everybody wanted it to happen. It was a smart business decision. Then it was the Tommy Fury fight, which, in all honesty, I don't think Jake should have even lost. I don't think Tommy Fury was that good. For somebody who's a professional boxer by trade, somebody who comes from that family, I don't think he was that good. And honestly, I think if Jake Paul fights KSI, Jake Paul will slap the dog shit out of him.
100%. 100%. The whole thing with Tommy Fury is a little bit of a conspiracy theory. I feel like he won just because of the family name.
Yeah,
The only reason because it went to split decision. He didn't knock Jake Paul out, and Jake Paul had some really good rounds in there.
yeah.
Definitely would need someone who watches boxing a lot more, but I personally feel like it was just because of the family name.
Yeah, by no means I'm not a professional boxer analyst or anything like that. But when I was watching it, I definitely felt like he got a little bit of slack because of the family name. But also from what I understand, he didn't want to take a second fight. So, look, say what you want about Jake Paul. I think the work ethic is there. I think the guy knows exactly what he's doing marketing wise. He is making fights that people are watching. As annoying as it is and as boring as it is, like, people just watch it, and it is what it is. I just think if he's very serious about this, about being a professional boxer, which I think he is a professional boxer, but if he really cares about people taking him like way more serious than they do, then start fighting people who are actually boxers, who are actually on your level, who you think, because that's the other thing, right? Again, I don't know if this is the fact. I don't know if this is true or not, but it is a business at the end of the day. Jake Paul probably does not want to go into the ring with somebody who can beat him easily, right? Because then it's like, well, you lose 3-4 times, you don't have the draw anymore. Nobody really cares. Like, you've been beaten. I think that's what sports are doing, like UFC, right? Whenever these guys who have this unbeaten run, I think that's the problem UFC right now has. They have all these Dagestani guys who nobody can beat, and it's kind of like everyone is waiting for them to lose. And that's because everybody loves the streaks, right? The never beaten streak. And then what happens? And Jake lost that, and he's still going. And I think that's a lot of character. But I think sports in general, like, there's that problem that I see the UFC have. It feels like, again, I don't watch UFC religiously, but it feels like every time there's an event with one of these Dagestani guys, they just look like on another level. They look like they're... Who's going to be beating them?
Absolutely no one.
Yeah, so... I saw Jake, he did a Piers Morgan interview that he crashed out on.
I think it was a business move.
You don't think they talked about it, though? You think Jake just did that?
Well,
I don't think they talked about it.
I don't think he talks about doing a lot of stuff to the people he does it to.
Yeah.
And he just does it.
Yeah. So, I mean, we could actually watch that. I think it's like, yeah, it's a quick thing. He was on Piers Morgan. So let's take a look at this. He was there to promote the fight, essentially. So here we go.
In boxing, but I do think when you actually come up against a proper serious boxer, and I suspect that Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. may be that person, it could all come crashing down.
Piers, is that you think that your opinion matters.
Well, why are you doing my show if it doesn't?
Oh, I'm just taking your audience to sell pay-per-views. I don't give a about your show. You dumbass. This is a business.
Yeah, I mean, Jake is very upfront about it. He
literally
does
said it.
Yeah, he does this because he's selling pay-per-views. Yeah. So honestly, yeah, you can get mad at Jake Paul all you want. I think the guy plays a very good villain.
He's an amazing businessman.
Yeah, and if you really want these fights to stop going on, stop watching. And I'm not talking about like one person. We as a community have to stop watching. But the problem is every time, when he announced the Mike Tyson thing, nobody in their right mind thought that Mike Tyson is knocking out Jake Paul. Nobody. We all watched it because we were like, what if? What if? Like,
he was 58.
Yeah. Yeah. So, whatever. I honestly think that, I used to care a little bit more about this because, in all honesty, I wanted to see somebody knock him out. But now I'm just like, once in a while, right? A Nate Diaz or Anderson Silva or something. It's kind of, it's obvious this dude doesn't want to go into an octagon with these guys. When Logan went to fight Mayweather, like, he didn't think he was gonna beat him. When Conor went to fight Mayweather, he didn't think he was going to beat him. It's all money. The amount of money these guys are getting from this is insane.
Yeah, and then all of the promotions they're doing. Since Jake's playing this villain, a lot of the times the only reason people watch those fights is, oh, I want to see this guy get knocked out. I don't like him.
Yeah. Which, hey man, do what you got to do. Sell them pay-per-views, man. That's the art of the game. That's why Conor McGregor was so successful. He was the guy who was talking a lot.
He was a
Yeah, he was talking a lot, and everybody wanted to, either they thought it was fun, cool, and then
one loss.
Second loss, and it's like, all right, you can't talk like that anymore.
Yeah.
Like, you're not the guy. So
You're not that guy, pal.
you're not that guy. We were watching the Sinners movie yesterday,
Ooh.
and I was watching it, and there was something that really reminded me of a story I read years ago at this point. It was about making a deal with the devil. Making the deal with the devil is, especially for artists, is such a old thing, I think. You know, you always hear that. They sold their soul. They signed a deal. You know, Bob Dylan talked about it. Kanye West joked about it. Katy Perry joked about it. It became this thing where I don't really know where it came from. But at this point, when you say something like that to someone, nobody's going to look at you like, what are you talking about? They're either going to think you're a conspiracy theorist or they've heard something similar to it before. In this story specifically, there was a blues player in Mississippi. His name was Robert Johnson. Early 1900s, aspiring to be a great blues player. He was really good with I think it was the harmonica, right? He used to play at juke joints. When I was reading, there were some people who was claiming that he was really good with the harmonica, but he really wanted to be good with the guitar. There were a few people who, he was trying to learn from, especially at these places. One of the people was Son House, Willie Brown. These were people who were playing there, who were good at their craft, and he wanted to learn. There were stories about how when they would give him a shot, people would pretty much boo him off the stage. Nobody liked what he was sounding like. Very amateur. Just all the stories that were coming out was that he was not good with the guitar. The guy disappears for a year. He comes back, and he's one of the greatest guitar players of that time. Nobody understood how it all happened, right? His playing was described to be otherworldly. Those same people who were booing him out of clubs, and the people he was trying to learn from, they were all shocked at how good he got in such a short time, because nobody knew where he went. He dies at age 27, and little folklore starts coming out. A legend comes out that at some point, Robert Johnson made a deal with the devil. And the story goes that he was walking one night at midnight, and he got to a Mississippi crossroad where he met a pale man who was tall and his eyes shined. He started talking to this person who people then were saying that he described as the devil, that he met the devil at a crossroads in Mississippi. The devil asked him what he wants most in life, and he tells him that he wants to be a great guitarist. He wants to be a great artist, one of the best blues players. The devil takes the guitar. He tuned the guitar, and Robert Johnson was shocked at how he was playing it. And when he gave it back to him, he said, take it, and essentially that he will be able to have those same skills. But he wanted one thing in return, and that was his soul. Coming from poverty, nobody mentioning him, noticing him, having a hard life, he accepted. And he returns with the skills that nobody has ever seen. Some of the songs, he recorded 29 songs in total. It wasn't that much, at least for the time. Some of the songs were called Me and the Devil Blues, Crossroad Blues, and there was another one, I think, Hellhound on My Tail.
Yeah.
So obviously already there's like themes of religion, spirituality, and I think the names of these songs just fueled more of this legend, because this was never really confirmed. There were a few interviews that were conducted. There was one with Son House, who was one of the people who was playing at that juke joint, who remembers Robert Johnson, and he said that there were people talking, and it kind of became a thing where people were saying that he made a deal with the devil. He died at the age of 27, joining the infamous 27 Club. which a few celebrities who passed away at the age of 27, everybody says they joined the 27 Club. So then, this whole thing, when you talk about making a deal with the devil, this was not the first artist, but this was a major artist coming from, the United States, where it was mentioned that he made some kind of deal with the devil, sold his soul, and became famous. And specifically with music, that's the interesting thing. It's very rare to read that some like movie actor did this. It's always something to do with music, and I'm curious if it's because music is very influential, and if people who, I guess, spirituality, religion, how far does it go with like music? What's the connection with music?
I feel like movies in general. So let's theorize that the devil or a demon is using you to spread their like thought and so on. It is much better done through music because more people are there are more chances of people to hear music rather than see a specific movie.
Yeah, that's true.
Like you'll hear music, especially back in the day, on the radio. It'll be random songs just playing, and you'll eventually stumble upon music from an artist that is like that specific artist, whatever.
Yeah.
And then fast forward, I don't know, like 50 years, vinyls start coming out and stuff like that. So music just spreads everywhere.
Yeah, you're more likely to play the same song multiple times than watch the same movie. Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. So honestly, I think the story is very creepy. Obviously, like many of these theories, there's no concrete evidence, right? There's nothing he said personally, nothing he read or wrote personally that would suggest this. But it is very interesting because, again, it's the South. Hoodoo was a big thing. And like I said, we watched Sinners, which also heavily implies these kind of religious themes. And something about meeting the devil at a crossroads is very eerie. I've heard of this even before with other artists. Definitely not the only artist from Mississippi. There were other ones who also referred to this. And maybe that came after this story because it became a legend at some point. It's not very difficult to find, but not a lot of people talk about it. But there's something really creepy about, this was early 1900s. And something that is very alive today when you think of celebrities selling their soul, signing a deal with the devil. I don't know. It's really interesting. I don't know why everything always comes back to some kind of religious undertone. It's always saying it's always your soul, and then he comes to collect. There's a lot of question marks with this whole story. His death was really strange as well. A few years after he passed away, they found his birth certificate. And even then, there was no reason. There was nothing that stated why he had passed. I think right now, when you look into it, you will see that somebody's, there's speculations. Some people think he was poisoned by somebody. Some think it was an illness. Whatever it was, there's a lot of things that fall into place, right? You have this whole thing with the 27 Club. You have Satan making a deal, selling your soul. And I think, maybe we'll never know. I'm curious what this crossroad looks like in Mississippi. But I was also thinking, crossroad, the cross, more religious things.
That's wordplay right there. Crossroads, demons, devils, and so on is in a lot of movies. Supernatural is a TV show that wildly explores the whole theme of demons and crossroads. It's throughout pretty much every single season.
Really?
It's constantly someone made a deal. There's what are they called? Bloodhounds or hellhounds.
Yeah.
On their tail. Usually the contract is like 10 years. That's how much you get to use your newfound powers and so on. And then there's no way for you to like cancel the contract. Basically, everyone who made a contract ends the same way. And the whole thing with like devils and demons, it's just been explored so much. And I feel like there's so much research you can do on it.
Yeah, for
where
sure.
You'll definitely tie it to a lot of even real world events if you have enough imagination.
Yeah, it's definitely a rabbit hole. I mean, you can, even with this story, it's not a convoluted story or anything like that. And I think if you're a rational person, you'll probably think, look, he disappeared for a year from this place. He probably went to master his craft, took apprenticeship from somebody, came back and was really good at the guitar. I think the problem is a lot of people were saying that just the way he was playing, it was just unreal. The guy was getting booed off of stage. He really had a problem. He couldn't learn. He was really bad at it. He wanted to be the superstar. He wanted to be, he wanted to influence the next wave of blues, and he disappears. He comes back, and he just has this incredible skill. So, naturally, I think down in the South, especially in the 1900s, it's very possible that people, I think usually people think, maybe some of you have grandmas or grandpas, and usually when people think of gifts, it's like, oh, you were blessed, you were born with a gift, you have a gift of playing. So when people saw this guy having a gift, they were like, well, he wasn't born with it, so where did he get it? And they just tied it to selling his soul. Yeah, I think so. Next week, I want to talk a little bit more. We have another really cool, spooky theory coming along next week, so definitely stay tuned for that. Remember to subscribe, like, comment, send this to your mother, and I hope you enjoyed it. I think this was really fun. I'm overheating over here, so thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much for listening or not listening. Put this in the background somewhere. Give us the view and the statistics, and we'll see you next time. Also, happy 4th of July, because that's going to be tomorrow when this video launches. So don't go crazy, America. We love you.
Bye.
On the website, talking all night, then your friend died. Y'all was born whipping in exotic shit Italians. If y'all hit us, then let your talent get expanded. Use the tally, couldn't count it for the fam. We gon' beat the challenge outright. Making love to the chicken. Banks on banks on banks on fitting. Everything I wish for happened. Hate to kill hope, but while I kill hope, I see we were born ready. Yeah, y'all